The only thing better than being able to walk through walls is being able to walk through slightly thicker walls and also teleport through small gaps in walls. And those are the skills we will be applying today on Let's Play Axiom Verge. I'm back over here in Eribu again, and I'm going to be going back and getting some items that we can now get. I neglected to mention in my previous recording that back over in Eden, if you've done everything right, you should now have map completion and item completion for Eden, and thus should have no further reason to go to Eden. We are going to be getting pretty much everything in both Eribu and Absu today, so we will have as little to do in those areas afterwards, with one notable exception. We'll get to that later. For right now, there's actually space up here you can get through. Now that you have the drone teleport, you can get through there, keep drilling. And there's a power node, Fragment, which is actually enough for a boost there slightly. Now, over here... not just yet. Gonna come up this way now. You know what that sound means. And you will probably remember that early in the game we saw a lot of garble over here, which with the address bomb, we can now get through. Now, I'm going to send the drone in there for a little more safety. Because in here, we meet our first purple sentries. And they are quite dangerous. They do quite a lot of damage if they shoot you or you bump into them. So we can just have the drone run past them fairly safely and get the lightning gun, which I will demonstrate momentarily here. It's basically lightning, like that. Doesn't look like anything too special until you actually get close to a creature, like that one. And then as long as you're reasonably pointing in the direction of it, it will actually seek to that creature and destroy it immediately. Or almost immediately. It does quite a bit of damage over multiple ticks. And that is good enough that I am going to be using it in place of the Axiom Disruptor for much of the remainder of the game. Now, just to get the hack on here, when you hack the purple sentries, they actually remain on the same spot on the screen in the next screen you go to, if that makes any sense. And they are a lot easier to shoot down once you have the lightning gun, but even with that, they are quite dangerous. Also, as long as I'm dealing with my weapons here, the trouble with the distortion field is you do have to maintain it consistently on your target. It's not just a single pulse like the Kilver. So I'm going to keep the Kilver as my main weapon as well, so I can do things like shoot things at the height of my jump like that, which the distortion field really doesn't do very well. Now in here, you will start to see the lightning gun start really working. If I can get any of these. None of them are terribly convenient to shoot. Lightning gun is also very nice for breaking those bubbles if you're going for that achievement. With the lightning gun, you can pretty much plow through most of the basic enemies in the game. This is an excellent example here. You barely even need to think about where you're aiming anymore. Now, I pointed it out before, this is the save point where we started the game. There's still some more stuff we can do over in this area, part of which we explored earlier in the game. Now we can do slightly more over here. You'll remember over there to the left, there was a watery area that we couldn't really get through before. We can do a little more there now, but it's really dangerous, and we still can't actually get all the way to the end of it, so I'm not going to bother with that. That is the one part of Eribu we will have to come back for later. Now, over here, we couldn't get through here previously, because we needed the drone teleport, which we now have. So we can come up through this winding tunnel gradually. If I can manage to jump through the bubbles before they come back. The wisps are much less dangerous with the lightning gun. And over here we have more wisps. I'll take a data bomb, sure. I've not seen a note that looks like that before. What's that? Well, this type of note is handwritten by someone, apparently someone from Earth, who came to Sudra. Specifically, Trace. Okay, then. What the writer of this note means by going upstream to the filter is not explained by the game. It's open either to a sequel or fan speculation, I suppose, but we learn no more about exactly what he's talking about there. But most importantly for our known plot, that is our evidence that what we learned about Trace previously is actually accurate. The original Trace came through to Sudra from Earth somehow, many years ago, left a copy of his biodata behind in the save points, and that copy was used to make the version of Trace that is the protagonist of this game. And you'll notice here, it almost fades into the background, but there is an old wheelchair here. Remember that Trace, when he came through to Sudra initially, was completely paralyzed, meaning he was probably in a wheelchair. Meaning he left it here when he used the rebirth chamber, which is directly below here. And then wrote that note, speculated about something terrible that happened to Sudra that we don't know anything about, and then went on to do other stuff. And presumably came back later as a mass murderer. Lovely. Now, the fact that you can actually see that wheelchair there is my primary reason for believing that whatever the relationship is between Sudra and Earth, it is not like Sudra is a simulation created by Trace as an escape from his paralysis or anything like that. Because if that was the case and Trace was making a video game avatar for himself, basically, I don't think he would have made his avatar be wheelchair-bound and then right away heal himself. I think the transit from Earth to Sudra must have been a physical transit between two parts of reality that are basically described by the same overall algorithm. And the transition was a physical one that brought Trace here, wheelchair and all. That is my interpretation, at least. Let's see, is there anything I need to do up there still? Actually, no, I'll come this way first. Enemies? What enemies? Now, this one, I believe, much earlier in the game, we looked in here, but couldn't make any further progress because of all that garble up there, which we can now clear out. By doing so, we can come up here, fight through another laser squid, and a spider. gradually. And we get another health node. Excellent. If we're going to be fighting any more of those purple sentries, we definitely want all the health bar we can get. Now, you will recall that a couple episodes ago, I came up this way to the room where the Ikimu Labiru code was used. Up here. And I noted that in addition to being able to use the code there are also some of those scan lines indicating a secret world, which we can get into now that we have the trench coat. So, we're going to go through that. And hopefully that should go pretty smoothly now that we have the lightning gun. If I can get the last little swarm bug there. As always, no actual secrets in the secret world, so don't worry too much about drilling through things that look drillable. Interesting that they put the slugs in this area, even though those don't normally appear in Eribu. Laser squids, of course, do. So, pathway splits here. Let's go this way, I suppose. Also not supposed to be an Eribu. What are you doing here? Not sure what that was. Alright, where am I actually going? Is that a functional door? Yes, it is. Oh, hello. The Axiom Verge secret worlds are grouped into easy, medium, and hard difficulty, which is basically a question of what types of enemies appear in those areas. And which difficulty appears where is governed by which zone. And also what items you need to reveal the entrance. The secret worlds in Absu and Z, I believe, possibly Kur as well, I'm not sure, are easy ones. I think... Okay, here's the range node, that's one of our items. I think Ukina and Eribu, possibly one of the others too, not sure, are medium. And then the final areas of the game are the hard ones. And I believe what items you get is also determined by the difficulty of the secret world you're in. The hard secret worlds in the final areas of the game, of course, have the best items. And unfortunately, I do not believe this is one of them. Alright. I think the only other direction I can go is up back over there. Which doesn't seem like it has that much space to lead me anywhere, but okay. Perhaps we will get lucky and this will be a relatively small secret world. Wow. These things get pretty annoying when they're stacked up vertically like this. But good for extra health if I hack them. So the door up there just leads back to the place I came in. So I guess they have the item room stuck over here somewhere. Again, my health's getting a little bit dangerous, so I should probably... Will I not hack it? Okay. I'll take the health drop from it then. Now that's interesting. What happened to that? Ah, weird. I'm not entirely sure what that blinky bit is there, but... Okay, here's the health node fragment. Yay. So, I guess I will meet you back on the outside of the secret world. There's nothing else to do in here, and nothing too interesting about traversing the remainder of it again. Okay, this is the entrance, so I'm just gonna work my way back out of there. So we're also done with Eribu for now, so I'm just going to meet you back over in the entrance to Absu. Whee! Destroying bubbles is fun! If you really need to grind bubbles for the achievement, that would probably be an excellent place to do it. Anyway, the way into Absu is right over here. So, quickly checking my map. Okay, right over there, first of all. Yeah, let's hit up the save point. Just in case, so I don't have to go back all the way into Eden or Eribu, wherever I saved last. So, this large room at the top here, past the broccoli room. Our jump scare broccoli friend is still here, and that's the last time we'll have to pass it. Because we can now come in here past all this garble that we couldn't get through before, and get the final bit of stuff in this room, which is just another power node fragment. Nothing too exciting, but it is important for item completion and map completion, so we'll come all the way over here and get it. also at the bottom of this shaft, I believe, we had our skeleton friend here, which we were able to get through with the drone before. Go over there to the left and get whatever was in there, I don't remember. But we couldn't go any further down. And now we can. Through this obvious passageway here. That leads around into here to another weapon. This is the data bomb, not to be confused with the address bomb, that shoots in a straight line and explodes. Why? I don't expect I'll be using that. Now, where's the next place I need to go? Alright, I'm actually going to meet you in the big room with the mushroom in it. Okay, here's the mushroom room I was talking about, over here. You'll recall there was this little area over here that we could get into once we got the lab coat. And we could come down here, but couldn't go any further because we couldn't get through up here with just the lab coat. But with the trench coat, we can come over here and through this last door. And this area definitely has lower levels of warfare vibe. Lava pits and all. If you're curious, you can actually go down into that lava with the trench coat, and it does kill you and drown you, but there's no reason to do that, so don't bother. However, you can come into this room and get another power node fragment. Hooray! So if I've done everything right, excellent. We now have map completion and item completion for Absu, and we never need to come in here again. As noted before, we do not yet have that in Eribu. There is still one more thing we need to do there. In the next episode, we're going to be going back into Kur, filling in the last bits of that map, and then advancing with the plot. So, we'll take care of that soon. Thank you for watching, and good night.